Goodness
right,
gracious.
fair enough.
Well, that's the past.
That's
Okay.
the past. That is the
That's in
past.
the past.
You had a maturation process last year. You had your bar mitzvah.
Yeah, bat mitzvah.
Bat mitzvah.
I
Bat
don't have-
mitzvah.
Yeah,
That
I'm a
look
girl.
dope.
I'm a girl.
That look popping.
Yeah, it was popping. It was like the party of the year for me.
Mm-hmm.
I had a blast. It was a lot of hard work getting up to it because I had to learn Hebrew and learn. I did the Vietza. That was my portion of the Torah, which is basically in Genesis, and I talk about how Jacob had the dream about the ladder and the angels going up and down the ladder, and I had to teach about what I learned. So that's about what
And
this is.
I see you rocking the star, David. It's interesting because you went to how you pronounce it?
Eritrea.
Eritrea a few times. That's Africa, but it got you closer to your Jewish heritage,
Yeah,
right?
it got closer to my roots all the way around, But let's be honest. When I was 15, 16 years old, I started doing bar and bat mitzvahs, so I was already kind of close to it. My grandma was telling me that's what my father was, and I didn't know if she was telling me that just to be telling me so I could get the job doing the bar and bat mitzvahs so I could make some money so I could stop asking her for money, or if it was true, right? And then I finally met my father at 27, and then he told me it was true, and that when he was on alcohol and drugs and stuff, and the Christian saved him, so he considered himself a Christian Jew, right? But in our blood, that's what it is, and
Oh no, my castle's under attack. That's okay. I didn't really like it anyway. Yeah, let's abandon that.
And still, I didn't all the way believe him. And then when I went to Eritrea and I started talking to the people, started talking to my family members, and found out, there's a lot of things that's going on there. Like it's illegal to be certain religions. It's illegal to practice your certain beliefs depending on what you are, or if you press it on other people and stuff. And but things have changed. Things are changing now, and I'm happy about that. But there's a lot of change that needs to come there. So when all that happened, I realized, like, dang, in the black community, we don't have anything that says I'm an adult now. That's all those things have been stripped from us when we were brought here to America, right? And so there's nothing that says, okay, you're an adult. Like there's quinceañeras for Spanish people. There's bar and bat mitzvahs for others. White people just inherit land and get their businesses. There's other business. Everybody has something, but we don't have anything that says you're an adult. And I was talking with some of my friends, and they're like, hey, I've been to jail 3 times. I'm a grown man. That don't make you no grown man.
That's
just
real.
because you went to jail. That makes you a bad criminal.
That's right.
You're not good at crime.
That's
That's
right.
what that make you. Stupid. So I felt like I wanted to do something to show my people that, like, if you dig, like I went ahead and did my 23andMe, and everything my father said was true. Everything my mama said was not true. She think that we like Blackfoot, Indian, Navajo, or something like that. Ain't no Native American. No Blackfoot Indian, unless those Blackfoots came from Africa, from Nigeria, and came here, and then they was like, we got here before Christopher Columbus, and then, which probably is what happened. But there's no Native American in my blood, but I got that East African, I got some European, I got some Hebrew, I got all these things in me. So I said, I'm gonna honor it. I'm gonna take advantage of this. I'm gonna learn the Hebrew. I'm gonna just study the religion, and it's not that far off from like Jehovah's Witnesses, where I grew up around, and in Baptist church. It's not that far off. And I don't know if you ever been to a temple, a Jewish temple, but you gotta go, because they be in there singing, okay?
Yeah.
Really?
They sang.
Like black gospel choir singing?
Now, I don't know about like black gospel choir singing, but they sang. They get it in. They're like, Yah Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu. Like they get it in. They get it in. I'm like, okay. I can rock with this.
Did you get any backlash to that at all? Because
Yeah, I
I know
was
sometimes
wondering
black
about
people be like, "Now we Baptist or we Catholic." Or
Yeah, so some people have said things like, "Oh no, you black. That's what you are. You black. You Christian. You this. You don't know. You don't know, because there's black everything.
Right.
There's
Right.
black people all over the world, and religion is one thing, and blood is another thing.
You can choose your religion.
You can choose your religion. And
we original man and woman anyway.
that part.
Yeah.
That part.
Yeah.
And when you do your real true research about the Hebrews and the Jews and the Israelites and all that, you find out that they look a lot like us sitting in this room right now. So maybe somebody stole some of the Jewish religion. Anyway, let me shut up. I don't have to be like some people stole from the get-go, but because you have the right to choose, which we should have the right to choose, especially in certain states.
How has the Jewish community reacted to that? Like, even
Most have embraced me and been very happy about it. Happy that I'm, talking about it, that I'm bringing awareness to it and bringing people closer to it. I haven't received just a few things like people like, oh, it's your dad, it doesn't count. It doesn't count. But if you go back to when that was determined, when that law was implemented, that you're only Jewish if your mother is Jewish, you have to remember there was no DNA testing, and then the saying, my Mama's baby, daddy's maybe. You don't know where mama been, right? So you automatically, whatever she is, that's what you are. But if you read the Torah, if you read the Bible, it's whatever your father is. You inherit the sins of your father, right? You inherit those things. And so you inherit his blood, his religion, his whatever. So I did the research, got my DNA test. That's my daddy. That's in my blood. That's what I am.
So they can't accuse you of cultural appropriation because that's your culture, part of it.
And if I did...
All right. Shalom. I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushua. I want to give double honors to the apostles and the elders of Great Millstone, because those are the men I learned this truth from through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Ashem Yahushua. Yahweh is the true name of the God of Israel. Yahushua is who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ, but his one and only true name is Yahushua. And pretty much Tiffany Haddish, she's a comedian, and I didn't know that she was that her father was a train, however the hell you want to pronounce it. But pretty much that's like a place in Africa. It's like East Africa pretty much. So when you look at her father, he would be considered, according to the Bible, a Cushite. But we know, based off of her spirit, that, the guy, he obviously had to have been an Israelite. Because I didn't know that, that was her background. All right. Now, does this mean that every person from Eritrea is an Israelite? No. But she obviously is, and she's the focal point of the video on what the video is about. So, she was right on some things. What you gotta understand is this chick, she's in Hollywood, so, she knows her place. She knows not to say things that would damage her career, because ultimately, she cares about her career. She knows that there's certain things that she can't say. She might, hint and say little things, but she's not going to say the full truth. Whether she knows the full truth or not, or just knows part of the doctrine, that's on her. But, she was saying some good things. The original Hebrews, they were, so-called of Negro and Indian descent. Our nationality was stolen and taken from us, by these Edomites, the people that you see on the screen. All right, the sea line of these people, the Caucasians. And it's a good video. You read the comment board. It seems like there's some people that's like waking up, meaning that they at least doing the information. So, the Lord got his different crafty ways of pushing this information out there of who the true Jews are according to the scriptures. All right. But as far as the Falasian Jews there, we know that the Falasian Jews are not Israelites or a part of covenant in general, but you have Israelites that scatter amongst them. And this is what the video is going to be about. All right, because when you read in the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 28, from verses 25 through 68, it talks about, the siege of Jerusalem, us fleeing Roman persecution. When you read the book From Babylon to Timbuktu, page 84, it tells you that 1 million Jews, meaning 1 million Negroes, fled into Africa. Because the indigenous Africans there are Hamitic for the most part. They're Hamitic, all right? They're Hamites. And we fled there because they look similar like us on the outward appearance. So we fled there hiding from the Romans. So you have our people that's in North, East, West, and South Africa. So let's get this real quick. This is Romans chapter 8, verse 16. The Spirit itself bear witness with our spirit that we are the children of the Most High. And all of us, that's been in the truth, all of us have met, people like that. Because we know, according to the scriptures, that Numbers 2 through 18, those are the heathen nations. They're outside of the covenant. But due to the nation of Israel being rebellious and breaking the old covenant and constantly going after the way of the heathen and learning the way of the heathen instead of keeping the law, statutes, and commandments, the Heavenly Father allowed all the 17 heathen nations to rule over us for our disobedience. When I say our disobedience, I'm talking about the nation of Israel. All right, the seed line of the so-called Negroes, Hispanics, and Native American Indians. We make up the 12 tribes of the nation of Israel. All right. So, pretty much, you have our people that scattered amongst the indigenous Africans. So you can't just look at somebody and dismiss them quickly. You know, you got somebody that comes up to your camp and they look like a heathen, but they still trying to inquire. You never know. That person could very well be an Israelite. And our people have been brainwashed throughout the years believing in DNA kits, which DNA kits is a scam. All right? It's a hoax. It's not real. You know, you shouldn't even waste your time on it. Because, you know, even though we understand you are what your father is according to the Bible, it still goes deeper than that. Because you can look like a heathen, but, you know, you can look like a heathen, but you could be an Israelite. And it's based off of the spirit, how you can identify, you know, who's an Israelite and who's not. Are we going to know 100%? Of course not. All right, but we got an idea according to the scriptures. And she's obviously an Israelite, all right? Even though her father is a Eritrean or from Eritrea. This is Jeremiah 17:4. Because we don't have that record. You know, even these dudes that claim, you know, these dudes that's dark-skinned, and they think that all 12 tribes of the elect of the nation of Israel, which they don't even talk about, even though the Israelites started off being dark-skinned originally, you know, all of us is not dark-skinned, all right? I'm dark-skinned, but you have brothers that's not dark-skinned. Is the Lord looking at that? Nope. This is Jeremiah 17:4. It says, and thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage that I gave thee. So even if you're the darkest brother on the planet, it don't matter. You can't prove you're an Israelite. This is a faith-based thing. So before you go around judging somebody, saying somebody is a heathen, you know, like examine yourself, you know, because if a person claims to believe and you know through the spirit they sincere, and they glorifying the true names of the God of Israel, you know, Yahweh, and his only begotten son, Yahweh Shai, then come on, they more than likely they have to be an Israelite. And of course, if they believe on the true doctrine, it says, and I will cause thee to serve thine enemies in the land which thou knowest not, which ultimately that was talking about America, but, you know, we was in captivity under the Babylonians. And the Babylonians started changing our names. They started, you know, we lost our records back during that time. All right. Proof of that is the book of Ezra, chapter 2, verses 60 through 62. It says, for ye have kindled a fire in my anger, which shall burn forever. Meaning we was going to be under these curses until our Redeemer, you know, our Savior come back physically. Yahweh Shai. And he will come back. All right. So we don't have the records to prove that we're Israelites. Is all based through faith, all right? But there's tons and there's concrete proof of that, all right? And one of the customs was what? Keeping a record of our forefathers. See, now, you know, we don't have that. Now you got to go by, you know, the so-called white man's lies, you know, the biblical Edomites lies, DNA kits, so forth and so on. This is a thing of faith, man. So let me show you another example of an Ethiopian, a Cushite, or so-called Eritrean, you know, in the scriptures. This is Acts chapter 8, verse 26, because this is an example of Romans 8 and 16, how the Spirit bear witness with our spirit. Now this is Acts chapter 8, verse 26, and the angel of the Lord spake unto Philip, saying, arise and go toward the south unto the way that goeth down from Jerusalem unto Gaza, which is desert. And he arose and went, and behold, a man of Ethiopia. So you telling me you gonna read this and be like, oh, this guy is a Cushite? That would make the God of Israel a liar. We know he's not a man that he should lie. According to Numbers 23:19, it says, an eunuch of great authority, meaning he had great power, under who? Under the Candace, queen of the Ethiopians, who had the charge of all her treasure and had come to Jerusalem to worship. All right, so this guy, he came to Jerusalem to worship. It says, was returning and sitting in his chariot, read Isaiah the prophet. So this guy, right, is saying he was Ethiopian, all trained, and he was reading the scriptures. He was reading the scroll. He was reading, the book of Isaiah, or the scrolls of Isaiah. It says, then the Spirit said unto Philip, go near and join thyself to his chariot. It says, verse 30, and Philip ran thither to him and heard him read the prophet Isaiah and said, understandest thou what thou readest? Because we don't just wake up like we know it us, all right? We learn this truth from men through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. Whether you like the apostles of Great Millstone or not, it don't matter, because the Lord chose them to push this truth up. And now us being their fruit, we learned the truth and now we spreading it. But you gotta have that respect though. Even if you are an individual that might not like them, you gotta pay homage and have respect for the apostles, all right? Because you have a lot of ungrateful bastards that's out here. Anyways, it says, verse 31, and he said, how can I, except some man should guide me? So a man has to guide you in the truth. You all going to learn this truth from men through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. It says, and he desired Philip that he would come up and sit with him. So this is a man that it's saying that the man was Ethiopian or trained, which if you don't know by now, the guy's an Israelite foreigner, and he's desiring to know the scriptures. He really wants to learn. So if this was you in that situation, you wouldn't go teach the guy? Come on, man. Verse 32, it says, the place of the scripture which he read was this: he was led as a sheep to the slaughter, and like a lamb dumb before his shearers, so open he not his mouth. In his humiliation, his judgment was taken away. And who shall declare his generation? For his life is taken from the earth. And the eunuch answered Philip and said, I pray thee, of whom speaketh of the prophet this, of himself or some other man? So pretty much Philip is going over with the Israelite foreigner, which he was from Ethiopia, he was just going over the scriptures with him. He was being a guide. He was being a teacher. He was breaking down the scriptures to him so he could get the understanding. All right? Just because somebody say they from Eritrea or a landmass of the heathen, that don't automatically make them a heathen. You got to look at the person's spirit. Now, this is Isaiah 11:10. It says, in that day there shall be a root of Jesse, which shall stand for the ensign of the people. To it shall the Gentiles seek, and his rest shall be glorious. And that's what we are. We are ensign for the people. We do the videos, and they flock to us through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yashai. We're being gathered through the spirit of Yahweh Shai. Like it tells you in, I believe it's Zephaniah 2:1. Gather yourselves together, all nations not desired. That's happening through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Yahweh, through his own begotten son, Yahweh Shai. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the Lord shall set his hand again the second time to recover the remnant of his people. The remnant meaning the remaining of his people, which shall be left from Assyria. Because what happened, who was the first kingdom that was exiled out of the land of Israel when you read 2 Kings 17? The northern kingdom, which is the so-called Hispanics and Native American Indians, all right, or the people of that descent. And there's a lot of them that's still in Assyria, just like how you have a lot of us that's still in West Africa And in Africa, there's a lot of them in Assyria, and from Egypt, because that was the main captivity. It says, besides America, it says, and from Egypt, and from Patros, and from Cush. You know, that's what we want to focus on, Cush. All right? You got a lot of Israelites and remnant, meaning, you know, the elect of the nation of Israel, that's there in Cush. All right? Kenya, you know, Ethiopia, Eritrea. Am I saying all people there are Israelites? No, I'm saying that you have Israelites that is a part of the elect that's living in that land. It says, and from Elam and from Shinar, you know, and that's more of Cush, because you had Nimrod. He was ruling in 5 cities. We read Genesis 10, I believe. It says, and from Hamath and from the islands of the sea, and he shall set up an ensign for the nations, and shall assemble the outcasts of Israel, and gather together the dispersed of Judah from the 4 corners of the earth. So you got Israelites that's living amongst the heathen. This is Matthew 24:30, and then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven, which is talking about the so-called UFOs, with power and great glory, and he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the 4 winds, north, south, east, and west, from one end of the heaven to the other. All right, so that's what's going on. The elect of the nation of Israel is being sealed. I'm not saying she's a part of the elect, but the information is going out. All right, and she clearly is a Israelite foreigner. So hopefully this was edifying. Shalom.